Oops. Hey guys.
Hey guys.
Happy, what's today? Friday. It has definitely been a long week, you guys. Happy Friday. Happy Friday.
Yes, yes.
You guys come on and get in here. Let us know that you are here. We can't see you because of this doggone StreamYard, but we don't know you're there unless you say hi. We see the numbers coming up. We know that someone is in the room, in the house, but we don't know who you are. So just say hey, say hi. You guys make sure that you are clicking like and share. Click like and share. Share this video. This is going to be, hey Venus, this is going to be something that I think everyone can benefit from. Not just those that are dating with a purpose, not just those that are married, those that are single. I mean, everyone will be able to benefit from it. Just taking the information in. At some point, you're going to be able to use it. At some point, you're going to be able to share it. So I'm asking that you share the video tonight, that you share the video right now. You guys come on in here. We're going to wait until we get a few more folks in. We want to say, hey, again, happy Friday. It's been a long week, babe. How's your week been?
Oh, it's been awesome. It's been an awesome week.
Very long week. You didn't see me this week.
I know.
Wait, have we seen each other this week?
I don't think we've seen each other this week.
Y'all, the struggle is real sometimes.
The struggle is real out here, you know.
I know.
Sometimes you got to just tap in, you know. You got to make a phone call, send a text.
You better do that. Nothing else. I'm just saying. I mean, but it's like that. And, you know, with dating, when you're dating, it's not like, okay, with my everyday life, even if I have a late night, I'm coming home and you're here.
Right.
So it's different because we don't live together.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I guess you're just not a guest, but you have to be creative and you have to make sure that you are finding a time, making a time. And I know with this whole COVID thing, it's just, that's an added pressure. It's a lot. It's a lot. So you guys that are dating with a purpose, because I know that's different. It's two different things, but dating with a purpose, I'm saying to me first, to us first, and then to y'all, create and design, make the time for your honey because, hey bestie, because it is hard enough with COVID. If you have kids, if you have, you know, a job, if you have a business, all of those things added together equals you better make some time for your relationship and for yourself, right?
You better figure it out.
You have to make time for yourself first and foremost, so that I'm even some good for him. Like I have, sometimes it's like, you probably don't even want to be around me right now, you know, because I haven't tapped into my me time. As my coach always tell me, like, okay, so what have you done for you today? And that's a daily thing.
It is.
You know, when we talk about me time, we sometimes think, going out somewhere, going to do something, but sometimes it's just a simple pause.
Right.
Put the phones down, get off the internet, off social media, you know, just sit still and be quiet. And sometimes that is what we need.
Oh my God. It's so ironic that Tanya DeFreitas just tapped in because I was going to go off of something she sent earlier. And she was saying that she was going to go strong, you know, with her, what she had to do or what she had accomplished for the day. But then she said, you know what? Let me just take a break. Exactly what you're just talking about. Let me take a break from everything. Let me drop everything and let me just have some self-care right now.
Absolutely.
Some me time, some self-care. Sometimes it's necessary.
No, it is always necessary. It's always necessary, definitely. Yeah. I mean, even if you, and the one thing that my coach would tell me to do at the end of the day, she would send me a reminder and it would just say brain dump. That's it. Like, dump what you have going on at work, because sometimes we can take work home and it begins to affect our relationships at home. Our kids, like I said, nowadays the kids are at home, they're distance learning. That, you know, you got to come in and ask, how are you? What's going on with you? How's your day? What was school like today? Because it's different, you know. So it's very important that we do that. But you guys, thank you so much for coming in and saying, hey, hey, Mrs. Montgomery. Thank you guys for coming in. I want to say welcome once again to I was gonna say the kitchen table talk, you guys.
Again, this woman has a lot on her plate.
The kitchen table obviously. Talk. That's the kitchen table talk. Let's be clear. Hey, let's be clear.
Let's be clear.
Couples discussion, you guys. I think it's very important. The reason that we actually designed this platform is because it's important for us to come together to listen to couples who have had their own personal experiences in the topics that we will and have been sharing. and not only for them to share it, but share their experience, but somebody out there need what they've gone through. Somebody out there is going through what they have gone through. And so we sit as an example, or they sit as an example to say there is hope. You know, you may not go through it or get through it or over it the way that we did, but if we got through it, that is just a true sign that it's possible. Right?
Absolutely.
So that's how I feel about this show. I love it. You know, I get so much great feedback from it, from people that you don't even know they're listening or watching, and then you see them somewhere and they're like, hey, that show. And I'm like, okay, good. It's working. You don't ever have to tap in and like and share, but as long as it's doing something, like I want to go home with you, and not in that sense, but I want Let's Be Clear to be at home with the people, right? I want you to think about something that was said or some strategies that were done by the couples, and begin to implement them into your relationship if it works, right? And if it doesn't work, then create something that does work.
Absolutely. I think with this show, it's actually growing in a way that it's going to affect so many couples and so many people. You know, it's growing, and it's really like, I mean, it's affecting me in a totally different way because it's making me see things in a different light. You know what I mean? It's actually going above and beyond what I thought it could actually be, as far as just a platform or that seed that you talk about, just planting a seed and that seed growing. You know what I'm saying? It's actually growing. Right. Like right now, like you know what I mean? Like there's so many couples, there's so many people just wanting to tap in, they wanting to just join the discussion, wanting just to be a part of something that is on, you know, a positive thing. You know what I mean? There's so much negative in this world going on right now that we just want something positive, especially within the scope of relationships.
Right.
Do you agree?
Yes. And so when you say something about seed, you guys remember that anything that you water will grow. I don't care what it is, whether it's good or bad. If you water that seed that's been planted, it is going to grow. You may not have even watered it. That's why it's so important to know what is growing inside of you, because it may be something that, you know, an ex watered, or your parents watered. That planted a seed that someone else planted, but now that you begin to like operate in that thing and navigate through that, or you believe it, that you're believing it is water in itself, right? And so where you go, that is water. What you listen to, what you read, right? What you allow into your spirit, into your inside of you is growing, is watering what's been planted. But we are not going to monopolize the time. We're going to go ahead and move forward, you guys. Once again, thank you so much for coming on. You guys make sure you like and you share. Please, we are going to go ahead and bring in our guest today, our very first Dating with a Purpose couple, Michael and Kim. We are excited to have them in. So you guys just stand by, give them some love when they come in. You guys, I think they said this is their first time. So we're going to go ahead and bring them in with us today. There you go.
There you go.
Hey, guys, can y'all hear us?
Yes.
Are we clear? Are we clear?
Yes.
Clear.
Are we?
Awesome. Yes, you are. So you guys, this is Kim and this is Mike. They are dating. I'm going to say y'all dating with a purpose, right?
Absolutely.
Indeed. Okay. I just want to make sure so the people will know. So how long have you been dating, and how long have you been dating, and what is your definition of dating with a purpose?
We've been dating 5 years now. It's gone by real quick. Don't seem like 5, but dating with a purpose for me is we've just been able to communicate and express to each other what we want in the future, 5 years from now, whether it be 5 years from now, 3 years from now, and kind of set goals for our relationship, where we want to be financially, spiritually, and just connecting on, you know, home buying, the whole 9 yards, getting married and everything. We've talked about all of that. We've been like, you know, every step of the way, I would say, been trying to, you know, get goals, set goals and achieve those goals and move forward to being America.
Let me stop you for 1 second, Mike. Let me stop you for 1 second because you guys you're freezing, so we can't. It's coming out a little distorted.
Yeah.
Do me a favor and log off, and then come back in, and let's see if that works. So you guys just give us a minute. We're gonna try and get them back on and clear because I know that some things that they are going to say is going to be amazing.
It's going to be amazing.
We're actually going to tap into something else that was actually not even a part of what we were supposed to talk about when we first introduced the topic to them.
Right.
But some things occurred since that time, and so they gave us the approval to talk about it, and we are going to do that. All right, let's see now.
Is it better now?
Better now?
It's a little better. Did you guys say, somebody said, did you say, they said it's not freezing for them. Okay. Thank you, Venus. So you guys said you've been dating for 5 years?
Yes.
Yes.
Mike had a good explanation. Okay, wait, hold on 1 second. So then Shay said Mike had a good explanation, but I want to know why it's been 5 years if they will be transparent. So you said you guys been dating for 5 years, and she wants to know, they want to know, okay, so why haven't you guys phased over to marriage?
Okay, to be honest, we both were married before we got divorced, and we both were in a space where we were like, we don't want to get married again. You know, for a while, we both were at that point, and as we got to know each other and started dating more, and we started really liking and falling in love with each other, that's when we both started thinking about marriage again. Because I could say for myself, I was real bitter, you know, after I got a divorce. I was real bitter. I don't want to be married. I'm like, I'm finna just, you know, chill and work on myself and all that. And then she came into my life, and then my perception of wanting to be married again, you know, started to change. So in that time, it's just the time just moved on. But we plan to get married and get married soon.
But when I came into his life and we came into each other's life, we both was like, wasn't even thinking about like really a relationship, marriage, long term, anything. I had only been out of a long-term relationship for not a year, maybe like 6 months. He had already kind of been, I think like 2 years, he had already kind of been on his own thing. And so for me, I was like, I'm not thinking about getting married. I'm not thinking about a relationship. I was like, in my mind, no, I'm good. Like, no, but I'm gonna tell you this, the plans that I had for me, God was like, that's not you. Let me be transparent here. In my mind, I was like, I'm about to be I'm about to be dating. I'm about to accept some dinners every week, invitations and going out and doing this and doing that. No, that was, and my kids was like, you don't even give nobody your number. How you gonna go out on dates? Like, but
that's good.
You know, God was like, that's not you. And what I'm gonna do is put somebody in your space that appreciate who you are. So just chill. But in my mind, in my mind, me doing it Kim's way, I had a whole nother, I mapped it out. I wrote it down in a journal. What I was gonna do and what you gonna do.
What you gonna do?
And God was like, not. He was not.
Right.
Then Shay said, so y'all been healing and growing, and I like that.
Yeah. Because
many times we don't heal before we jump into relationships, and what we're doing is coping. I talk about that in my upcoming book called Life After the D.
Right.
Yeah,
Shameless
shameless plug.
plug.
But I talk about healing versus coping. And so I definitely understand what you are saying, as far as when you got out there, you was like, yeah, no, I'm not about to be up under nobody. I'm not about to be serious with anyone. But God had a different plan for you. So I want to say thank you, God.
Thank you,
God, for interfering with her thoughts and her plans, because we wouldn't be here today had he allowed you to go forward with that. What about you, Mike?
Yeah.
What's the question? I mean, like, I kind of elaborated on it already, but what you mean?
So when you came out of, and it's probably because it was freezing on our end, I didn't hear it. But when you came out of your relationship, your marriage, were you just dead set on I am not getting married again, or where were you?
That's where I was. I was there.
Yeah.
You know, I did the dating thing here and there, but I was just really focusing on myself and trying to get myself together. And I just my mind wasn't really there. I didn't really start thinking about it until I got with her. I mean, she just came into my life and just changed my perspective on love and everything, because she was just different from what I was used to. So,
Nice.
Yeah, so.
And I will say the first year that we were together, we had built like this friendship. It was not the wanting to be together thing. It was like a friendship. We had built like this friendship, like this bond friendship, like a best friend. And that whole first year, and then one day it's like, he looked at me, I said, oh, I like you. He was like, I like you too.
Just like that.
Right.
Just like that.
Writing the note in school saying, will you be my boyfriend?
Yes, no. Right. That was us. That was us. I love it.
Right.
So listen, tonight's topic is being friends with your ex. Is it okay? Is it okay? Well, what to you? What is a friend? What is a friend? Being a friend with your ex. What is a friend? And then let's talk about boundaries after we describe what a friend is.
You saying a friend with your ex, or?
Yes.
With your ex, not just a regular friend, but becoming friends with your ex.
Being a friend with your ex is being able to communicate, being able to get along, especially when we're talking about kids being involved, and it all this factors around, like, okay, the breakup. Some breakups are really bad. Some breakups are mutual. Some breakups are, way to the left. And a lot of times that's how we end that friendship or end that relationship with that person. And sometimes it's really hard to get it back. I am going to be 100% honest. I do not play them games about not getting along. Especially when it's kids involved. It's like, you got to be able to communicate. And, with the whole breakup, it's a lot that goes along with, especially when you've been with somebody for a long time. It's like you got relationships with mother-in-law, sisters, cousins. Yeah. You guys have friends in common. A bunch of factors in, that relationship. And then when you break up, it's like, do everybody break up? Do we all break up? Or do we all, try to,
Absolutely.
Because there's still things that go along. You still got, and I'm gonna say kids, because we both have kids and we came into a relationship with kids. And when you talk about birthday parties and graduations and, sporting events and, all of the stuff, that
Right.
goes along with, because we didn't make it work as the adults and as a couple. Does that mean everything else has to break apart?
Absolutely.
So you got
That's
to
good.
be able to communicate, be respectful, communicate with each other, and just respect each other's space and each other use their boundaries.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah. So you speak on boundaries. So in essence, when you talk about boundaries, what boundaries do you set to assure that that the relationship isn't compromised when dealing with an ex, when your partner is dealing with an ex or being friends with their particular ex?
Wait.
Yeah.
Before you answer that, I wanted to chime in on something. I think when we use the word friend, when we use the term friend with an ex, I think we use it very loose, right? Because we know the true definition of a friend. You're probably not going to be that with your ex. You're going to be mature. You are going to, like he's about to talk about, have those boundaries, right? But I am not going to just me and my ex. I'm not about to go travel with you. I'm not about, you see what I'm saying? So there's boundaries. So you have to make sure that you have the conversation about boundaries. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like, I don't not want to get along. I want to be cool with all of my exes, right? My last breakup was a horrible one, but we're cool, right? We have a child involved. And so we can have a regular conversation. There's no hate there, And my honey was brought in knowing that there's going to be, at some point, there's going to be a good relationship between he and I. We have a child together. We have a lot of history, 18 years, right? So as you said, you become friends with the family members and you got mutual friends in common. I personally called the common friends, the mutual friends, and said, hey, I don't want you to feel like you can't invite him. I don't want you to feel like you can't invite me. We're good. I had that conversation, because we good like that. So when you talk about boundaries, babe, what was your question about boundaries? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Kim kind of tapped into that. I want to address that most because she talked about communication, and I think that's like most important when it comes to when you talk about being friends with an ex or your partner and being friends with their ex. And she kind of defined it and broke it down. But Kim, how does communication, or how important is communication when you're talking about your significant other being friends with your ex, with their ex? I'm sorry.
It just all depends. I'm gonna tell you what happened in our relationship, because I feel like I allowed boundaries to go to the left when it came down to the ex. So for me, my ex and I, we broke up on a mutual breakup, and thinking that we broke up on a mutual breakup. Before him and I got together, we were cool. We were still able to communicate, talk, deal with whatever that we had to deal with. And once I got into a relationship, it shifted. He started like not being happy for the fact that I was in another relationship. So when we would come and once he realized that I was in this relationship, he just like went way to the left. Like, he would be like really disrespectful with some of the stuff that he would call and talk about, or text and talk about. Okay, I'm in a relationship. Why are you texting me these things? So for me, and even when we would come in the same environment with, like I say, birthday parties or graduation or something, he wasn't being respectful to him. He wouldn't speak. He wouldn't say what's up. He wouldn't what have you. But I didn't check it. I didn't check it. I thought, for me, ignoring it was gonna solve it. I'm just gonna ignore him. Just ignore him. He, whatever. But I didn't check it.
But then it's a thing where when you see that I have to go to her, I have to go to her and say, look, this is a problem. If a man can't respect that you're in another relationship when he comes around and he can't speak to you, say, you know, shake your hand, say, what's up, man, how you doing? And we just be cordial with one another. You know, it was a point where if I pull up at the spot, he leave. If you know, if I get there, then he start acting funny, you know, stuff like that. So I'm looking at this like, what's going on? So that's when I go to her, and that's when she had to really step up and say something, because it was going to end up being a conflict, because, you know, that was disrespectful. You know, when it gets to that point, then that's when you have to do something. So that's when we started communicating, and she right away, you know, started getting on it, and was a thing where she had to completely almost just had to let the situation go, because, you know, he wasn't respecting the situation.
And I did have to end up letting the situation go. At that point, I had to say, the kids are older. If you're gonna communicate with the kids, you communicate with the kids. Because at the end, the result of that, it was said, you know, I don't respect your relationship. I don't respect that you with somebody else. And I like, okay, well, we can't be friends. We just can't be friends. And that was the end of that. You know, but as I say from the beginning, I didn't check it. And I should have.
Right. And that, you know what, that's why it's so important. That's why it's so important for us to communicate, right? Because where you thought just being quiet and just letting it go was okay, it was actually creating a bigger problem, right? But I commend you for hearing what your guy was saying and immediately checking it. Because some folks would just say, you know what, don't even worry about it. Don't even trip off of him, or don't trip off of her. But now you're going home and you have a problem here for nothing, right? So it's clear that he or she may still have some type of feelings. They're jealous. But on the other end, the side where the person that you are with doesn't want you to be friends with your ex, that's a problem as well. That comes in as, you know, well, my thing is, let's look at why you feel that way, right? Is it something that I'm doing or not that is creating this problem for you? Or are you just a jealous person? You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes it's just jealousy. They don't want you to talk to an ex-girlfriend or ex-boyfriend because it makes them feel some type of way. And now the boundaries that they want you to set are just like they're unrealistic, because they barely want you to even speak to the person.
But you know what, Sam? With that, some people are committed to misunderstanding you. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, you can apologize, say I'm sorry, you know, explain, do whatever. They're going to be committed to making sure that they misunderstand your point, your view, your life, your whatever. And at that point, you gotta let it go. And sometimes everybody is not meant to stay in your space. Everybody is not meant to go to your next chapter.
Right. That's absolutely right, regardless to who it is.
Regardless of who it is.
Yeah. And I was gonna say, it was kind of ironic that you brought that up, because that was gonna be one of my poignant questions to you about when and where, when do you speak up? When do you say, when do you say something, when, you know, so as far as if something is affecting, you know, if that ex, you know, point blank, if that ex is affecting, like if they're doing something disrespectful, when do you say something? Do you say it right off immediately, or do you say something after the fact? You know what I mean? Like, or do you allow, like you said, do you just ignore it and allow it to become something greater, you know? But I believe, and that's my own personal opinion, that you have to speak up. Like, this is your relationship. this is something that could compromise the relationship that you're trying to build with this new, you know, this new person, you know, and it's totally going to affect whatever you guys are going through, whatever you're dealing with. You could be dealing with, you know, it doesn't matter, you know, you could be dealing with something really like vital in your relationship, and just having this person be that third wheel of like creating more of a problem in your relationship. It's going to create. It's going to create.
It can affect the whole thing.
It's going to create that division in your relationship, and you're not going to be able to. Sometimes it could break up. It could you know, kind of divide you, but then sometimes it can bring you back together, and that's when that communication opens up to you're able to elaborate on. Okay, this is affecting me. You know, that person you're dealing with, whatever it is, that disrespect. You know, that you know, whatever that, you know, that, you know, he like Mike was saying, like, I don't know, like whenever I come around, he's acting funny. He's, you know, when I come around, he wants to get up and leave. Like, that's a problem.
But that's jealousy.
Yeah.
And that's not your problem. So so here's the thing. When your ex has a problem, do not allow it to become the problem in your home. That's not your problem, right? So what you do is you address it, and you address it in a mature manner. However, if the other party is not willing to receive it and have that talk about it, then you have to wash your hands on it. Unfortunately, sometimes there are children that are involved. And so, yes, you're going to try a little harder to make sure that we can get on the same accord. Like, let's just be in alignment. If for nothing else, the kids, right? If the only thing we have to talk about is the kid, then amen, that's fine, you know. But I would hope that we're adult enough to, if I saw you on the street, that I'm able to say, hey, what's up? What you doing? I can have that kind of conversation with you.
Right. But and I would say that it became my problem when it affected him.
That's it.
That's when it became my problem, and I had to take care of the problem. When I saw that it affected him, that's when I had to take care of that.
It took her a minute, though. It took her a minute. Because like at the beginning, I'll use this for instance. I mean, we had been together maybe about 6 months or so. And she had an instance where she had to take a rental car back. And she called him instead of calling me. So I'm like, wait, I mean, who you with? Who you talking to? Why would you call your ex to take you somewhere? So that was kind of like the first little instance. So we talked about it. We got through that, and she understood where I was coming from, you know, with that. And then it kind of kept going a little bit. So then once I get to a point where she see I'm like, hey, you need to handle this, you know, then she like, okay, you know, then she jumps on it. But sometimes, you know, with her, it's a thing where she tries to, you know, be cordial, like she said, cordial with everybody. She tried to be cordial with everybody, no matter what happened, how they did you, or the whole 9 yards. She still tries to, you know, still have some type of open communication with the person and be the bigger person. But the other person is not always trying to, you know, meet her halfway with that. So,
or their intent may be totally different than her intent. So still on boundaries though. Still on boundaries. You have to have boundaries with yourself before you can expect to have boundaries with anybody else. Like, so with myself, I have to say, okay, I know why we're not together anymore, right? You have to say, okay, we are not together anymore for this reason. I forgive you. You just don't get front row seat in my life anymore. Right?
Absolutely.
Someone else has taken that place.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And with the
boundaries are probably one of the most boundaries in communication. 2 of the most important things that we have to make sure we keep at the forefront of our minds when we are talking about being friends with our ex-girlfriends, ex-boyfriends, ex-husbands, ex-wives, right? We have to remember, especially when you're in a relationship, We have to remember that there is another party involved that he or she doesn't know they don't know that connection. They don't know that, okay, they were friends for whatever amount of years, but there was some other stuff going on prior to them breaking up.
Right.
We have to keep that in mind, you know, and respect that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So Mike, and I'm asking this, and if it's too much, then just cut me off. But so was there any of your ex-girlfriends that overstepped their boundaries and you had to put them not in check, but you had to, you know, let them know this is too much, or were you out of line?
No, I didn't have an instance like that, but as far as myself dealing with my ex, you know, I'm thinking that, you know, I'm trying to be cordial. It was kind of tension at first, you know, between me and my ex. Then when I got with her, I wasn't really noticing it until one day I got off the phone and she was like, you know, you kind of out of pocket where you talking to your ex, and I could see in your body language and everything that, you know, how you speaking to her is not cool. So then I started, you know, thinking about it, you know, and my approach towards my ex got better because of her coming and checking me on it. And it got better and better between me and my ex because I started to see that, you know, I wasn't really having the right tone or, you know, being snappy or whatever the case was. And she really helped me with that to make my relationship with my ex better.
Well, what he didn't know at the time was that, yeah, because like he said that, you know, he would get off the phone and his demeanor would kind of be, you know, kind of off. And I fast and prayed over him. He didn't know it at the time, but I fast and prayed over him and his ex in their relationship. And, you know, after that, I left it there, and God, you take care of it. And from there, you know, I expressed to him how I felt about communication, and, you know, and then from there, you know, it's been what it is.
So what I hear is attributes of a wife, right? So somebody that you are just dating could care less of the relationship that you have with your ex-wife or your ex. They could care less about your demeanor or about how you're speaking. They could care less. And so it leads me into, because our last show, we talked to a woman who she's a widow. And she talked about how there's things that she should have done, could have done, you know, that she didn't. He passed away. She wished she could have talked to him a little different. She wished she could have done more of this, less of that. My question to you, because, and I already asked you if I could talk about it, you and cancer, right? You know that as a married couple, the vow says through sickness and in health. So here you are dating this guy that has not taken a vow, who has not stepped up. You guys haven't stepped up to God and said, this is what we are doing. I do. You have not done that just yet. However, I know that Mike has been there through sickness and in health. My question to you is, how does that make you feel, knowing that we're going to say he's not your husband, but we know he's your husband. But knowing that he's not your husband, how does that make you feel?
Well, in the beginning, almost been a year, when I got diagnosed with breast cancer, I said it a few times to him, and I told him, you didn't sign up for this. Like, you're not my husband. You didn't sign up for this. Like, pretty much if you know, want to go on, it's okay, because I'm about to have this journey. And, you know, I told him, I think I said it a few times, like, you didn't sign up for this. You're not my husband, and, you know, what have you. And it's been, God set this up, been setting this up for a long time. He been setting this up. I just got diagnosed in October of last year, but he been setting this up for a long time with removing some people from my life, putting other people in my life, getting insurances and finances and different stuff in order, setting me up for this time. You know, making sure I had enough time to be off work for 8 months, making sure that I had the people around me that was, you know, taking care of me. I couldn't ask for a better friend in him. I couldn't ask. God has been so amazing when he put this man in my life. I couldn't ask for a better friend outside of, you know, my man. I couldn't ask for a better friend who nobody, man, it has been an amazing, I have been able to walk through this journey because of the people in my life. Him and my kids and my mom and my sister, everybody who has pulled together to make sure that this thing right here, that I don't have them days. I might have some moments, but I don't have them days where I'm in sorrow, because I just got, I mean, angels around me, like, that's keeping me encouraged so I can keep other people encouraged. And I couldn't ask for a better honey that I have in this man right here. This is my, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy, but I couldn't ask for a better person. And what he told me, when I told him that, like, you didn't sign up for this, you know, maybe you need to just kind of, you know, find something else to do, you know, find somebody else or whatever. And he was like, no, we in this thing. Like, I know that you would do it for me. And we in this thing, you know, and
Yeah. So Mike,
Well, I got you.
yeah, I have a question for Mike.
Yes, sir.
And that was powerful in itself.
Yeah, it was.
You got me over here all misty eyed, like on some rest. Michael, just to bounce off of that, that was emotional. What is going into, or because right now you guys are dating, and obviously you've moved past that phase. Clearly, you're moving past that phase as you're dating with a purpose, and you're moving into the marriage phase. What does that look like? You know, what does that look like for you, as in, you know, knowing just how much, you know, and how she's expressed herself, how she's expressed that you've been like that rock. What is that, knowing that you've been that rock and knowing what you mean to her? What does going into a marriage look like for you?
I just feel that, you know, going through this, I feel like it's nothing that we can't get through together. Because this past year has really been tough. I mean, not really on me, just to see her go through all the phases she's gone through during this process. And like I said, man, it's like, I don't think it's anything moving forward that we could go through in this relationship that we can't get through. I mean,
Yeah.
it can't get no worse than it has this past year. And I know that we have a strong bond, and I know that she would do the same for me if I was going through something like that. I'll say maybe about a year or so before that, I got diagnosed with pre-diabetes. Okay, so I had to go to all the little meetings and change my diet and all of that. And she went to all the meetings with me. She became my little dietitian and everything. She got books and started reading up and changing, got me eating all these vegetables and all this type of stuff. So, I mean, it was a thing where when she came down with this, man, it was like, it was a no-brainer for me. It was a no-brainer for me that I know if I was going through something, she would do the same for me. And I'm going to be here no matter what she goes through. And I know that when we do get married, we're going to have a solid marriage because we have a very solid foundation to build off of from here on out.
I'm as I sit here and I listen to both of you guys, I think about how before you get married, you should be going to have premarital counseling, right? I think about how we many times don't really dive into parts of that vow that is going to make us truly understand the character of the man or woman that we are with. When we talk about being sick, when we talk about being broke, when we talk about, having just different issues, when we talk about that before going through it, it's easy for us to say, oh, I'll be there. I got you. I'm in it. But it's something about actually going through it that proves what you would really do, what your posture would be like. So you going through the sickness or health portion and responding the way that you have responded has just said, yes, you will, right? You've just proved that everything you've told her, and you've just proved that everything you've told him in your conversation about what type of woman you are, what type of guy you are, how you would have each other's back. You just proved that part of the vow, right? Which makes it easier for you to believe that going into this thing, when you go into this thing, when you sign those papers, when you say I do, right? You go into this covenant. It allows you to see it from a different angle. Many of us don't get that blessing. And I know it sounds crazy that I'm saying that it's a blessing that you've gone through that already.
Right.
It's a blessing because you've gotten the opportunity to see what type of man that you're going to say I do to. You've got an opportunity to see his posture when you are in that position, right? So why would it be any different with anything else that you're going to go through? And Absolutely. So I commend the both of you for standing. I commend the both of you for saying yes, right? Because like you said, Kim, you said he didn't sign up for it, right? But that's the same thing we can say if you're married and you didn't sign up for this. You knew it was a possibility. It's a possibility whether we're married or not that I may get sick. It's a possibility whether we're married or not that I may be broke. It's a possibility that I may lose my job. There's a possibility, right? But the thing is, when we say yes to God about it, for some reason we feel like, well, that's a different, there's paper involved, right? So yeah, you don't get to just leave, but actually you do. You still have a choice. There's still an option. Oh yeah, there's still an option. And so prior to doing that, I say have that conversation about what the options are. Let's be on the same page. Let's be in the same book. Hello? Right. Right. Absolutely. The same book. Yeah. Because, it may be this way today, but it may be another way tomorrow. But let's be on the same page and talk about what our expectations are. And so just hearing you guys say that you've been there for each other, you're each other's best friends, and you're dating with a purpose, the purpose of going to the next level. You're getting to know each other right now, still. Even 5 years later, you're still who he is today. He wasn't 5 years ago when you met him. Who you are today, and he just said it. He said it's because of the woman that she is, right? That I began to think about how I talk to my ex-wife, my ex-girl, how I my body language, right? So it takes an anointed woman, a special person that is going to step into someone's life, especially as an adult, that have grown up with different beliefs. You're a woman, he's a man, right? You grew up differently, different parents, probably economically different, but now you're bridging this thing together. So it takes time. And even after you say, I do, you're still learning. You should still be dating with a purpose. Married people that's on here. You don't get to stop dating him. You don't get to stop dating her because he and she You guys are still evolving. You're still an individual, right? And so there's going to be certain points, certain levels where things just begin to shift and change. And it's unfair if you do not tell your spouse, you know, babe, let's try this. I'm beginning to think about this a little more, right? It's not okay for me to just assume that you are still that 25-year-old that I married 30 years ago. That's not okay. It's not going to work.
But I told him, or I'll say, I don't want to ever get comfortable. I don't never want to get comfortable. I want to always learn. We always, people, when we're around like family, a lot of my family or sisters and everybody, they're married. So they're already married. And so they always tease us because we always up under each other. We hold hands. We, affectionate and this and that when we around them. And they be like, oh, that's going to fall off. Oh, in 5 years. Oh, give it another year. Oh, whatever. They always, tease us about us, being affectionate with each other. Oh, that ain't gonna last. Oh, give them 5 years. That's gonna be gone. I don't ever want that to leave. I want that to be consistent in 20 years, in 30 years, in 10 years. I don't want to get comfortable with, okay, well, I know he ain't going nowhere, so I'm just gonna, I'm gonna be comfortable. No. I want to continue to be new. Continue to try new things, continue to try to adapt things within our relationship, in our life, and grow. I mean, we grow something. We might see something next year that we want to start that we didn't even think about 5 years ago. And we both looking at each other like, no, but that's growth. That's growth. Like, you have to keep growing. You have to keep learning. You have to keep going in that thing. Like, don't get comfortable. Do not get comfortable in the relationship because,
Yeah. You know what it says to me when people say, oh yeah, just give it some time. Y'all not gonna be doing that much longer. When people say that, that tells me that there's some type of generational curse there. And not necessarily a family generational curse, a community generational curse. The community that you've been around has shown you that it only lasts for 3 years. That happiness, that love, that bubbliness, it only lasts for so long and then you fall off, right? That's a generational curse. But what I want to say to you too, I want to encourage you to continue to knock their socks off, continue to love on each other, right? Continue to be the example. Be what they want to be what they want to see. And not in a way where you're trying to make them jealous, but in a way where you're trying to show them that you can do this too. You can have this as well, right? And all you have to do is love each other, love God. Make sure you have God at the foundation as your foundation. Continue to communicate, right? Open communication. Talk about those things that don't feel good. Do not try to hold them in because guess what? You blow up. You go down the line 2, 4, 5, those 7 years later that they're talking about, and it come out in a way where it's not healthy, right? And so I commend you to, and I encourage you to keep doing what you are doing. Keep supporting each other. Keep loving on each other, right? Keep having this type of dialogue. Make sure you're surrounding yourselves around like-minded couples.
Absolutely.
Make sure you are putting yourself in a position where you're around folks that's going to help you come up a little more and not stagnant. Because many times we'll stay around couples that are comfortable, and now we feel a little funny about going to our next level because we don't want to leave what we're so accustomed to. But God is saying right now, you got to let that go. It's time to go to the next level in your relationship, in your marriage. It's time for you to go somewhere else. And it's not saying to let go of your friends or not be friends with them anymore, but it's saying to be an example and show them how to get there.
Right. Right.
So I know that we're coming up at the end of our show, but is there anything that the two of you want to say? You want to say to the people? You want to say to each other? And I'm going to look at some of the comments as you guys go ahead and say that.
The one thing I want to express, and I'm just so wholeheartedly heartful with this. if my relationship with God is not solid, I cannot have a solid relationship with my honey, my kids, my mama, my sister, my co-workers. I have to have a solid relationship with God and make sure my relationship with God is solid. And that's what leads me. That's why I can go to work and deal with that coworker that get on your nerves. And that's why I can deal with my kids when they go to the left, or, you know, whatever the situation is, because my relationship with God is solid, and he allows me to have these healthy relationships with other people, and how I react to the relationship with other people. So I just want, you know, everybody to know that, you know, make the relationship with God solid first, especially when you go through a breakup, when you go through anything in life. Like, make God first, make that solid relationship with him first before you step back into something else, or before you try to before you try to mend a relationship. Talk to God first. Get on one accord with God first, and then try to step into that thing.
Yeah.
You know, you'll have a much better outcome versus trying to do it yourself. Because if I do it Kim way, you know, we got to go to the trunk and, you know, get some stuff. But, you know, you gotta when you put God first and ask God how to handle situations, ask God how to answer this question, how to go about this, how to go about that. Your relationships, all your relationships. We're not just talking about husband, wife. We're talking about all your relationships. You'll see a different outcome in it.
And I would say, earlier talking about relationships and being comfortable, I would say to all couples that I've just learned this over time and making the same mistake. It's like, you have to stay consistent. I mean, the most important thing in a relationship, you have so many things, but being consistent with how you treat one another, being consistent with your word, what you say, dating, if you continue dating each other all the time, can continue to compliment each other, send those texts, those nice little love poems, and all that. The key is to stay consistent. What you do in the beginning, year 1, be doing in year 10, year 15, 20, just keep being consistent in the relationship.
Okay, sorry about that, you guys. You already know this stuff sometimes. I told you earlier what I did get out of what y'all said, because it was like real choppy. I was like, "Oh, I think we're going down." But what I did get from what you said, I heard Kim talk about God being the foundation, and I heard you guys talk about making sure you have a relationship with him. Right. My thing is, before, even in dating with a purpose, before you can date a man or a woman with a purpose, if you have a relationship with God, you need to date God with a purpose, right? Mm-hmm. If you are married, before you can be the best wife to your husband that you can be, or the best husband to your wife that you can be, you have to ask God to show you how to be a wife and show you how to be a husband, right? The best example of husband and wife relationship is Christ in the church. And the only way to learn that relationship is to get into your word, to understand what God did for the church, to understand how he loved the church, to understand how submission went from him to his Father, right? And that is how we as wives, that's how we learn what we are supposed to do. The best example by far And so when we are using that as a blueprint, right, then there is no way that we're going to we're going to make mistakes, but not mistakes where we're not going to be able to come back, right? When you learn something and you do it the wrong way, it clicks for you. I should have done that, this way. Or when you have that relationship with God where you're available and open to him, you're going to hear him tell you, no, daughter, no, son, wrong way. Or be quiet, right? Sometimes he just says, just shush, because I know this is upsetting you, but I'm working on him or I'm working on her. And I don't really need your help in this point, in this matter right now. Just trust me. So at the end and at the beginning of it all, God just wants us to trust him. He wants us to trust him with who he's gifted us with. He wants us to trust him with everything that we go through while we're in this thing, right? Sometimes we like, yeah, I'm good. This is too much. I don't want to do it. But God says, I've anointed you to go through that thing. You're going to be the one to help him or her come out of that, right? And so it's not about trusting the man or the woman. Yes, you need to. But it's mostly about trusting God, trusting what he said to you. And if you cannot hear his voice clearly, then I'm going to recommend that you steal away and get to yourself so that you can learn his voice. And that would be what I would say.
My take would be that, and actually, I just want to speak on just the elevation of this conversation and the dialogue that we had. And I just want the people that are watching, the people that are tuned in to understand that what you have witnessed here is like intent, it's total intent. And you as a couple have total intent on communicating.
That light. That light.
And we're back. And what I was saying was the topic, as important as the topic was tonight, it was so, I hate to say it was, it was just minimal to like the what you guys have as a couple, what you guys express as a couple, what you guys share as a couple, dating with a purpose, looking forward to being married, and I've just enjoyed watching, like I said, the maturation of this conversation. It's been amazing to watch you guys. You guys are amazing couple, amazing example of what it looks like to be dating with a purpose. And I just want to say thank you for just being our guest. It's been amazing to watch you guys and watch just the love that you guys share for one another.
Right. And I've read that in the comments. Like, we could just see the love. And that speaks volumes. So Kim, Mike, thank you guys so much. Thank you for supporting Make It Rise. You guys have come to a couple of the events. I appreciate you. I, hope to have you on again, and you're going to be Mr. and Mrs. at that time. But I cannot wait to connect with you again. I know we got all this stuff going on, this COVID, but I can't wait to connect with you on another level. I love you. Thank you, Mike, for being there for my sister. Thank you for loving her the way that you love her. Thank you for keeping her, watching her, being her guide, being her covering, being her protector. Thank you for doing all of that. And God, he noticed that, right? He's going to honor you for that. And I want to say thank you. The best is yet to come, you guys. I love you. And I'll see you a little later.
Tam, I just want to tell you, I love you. I love you, love you, love you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the shows before this. Everything that you're doing is just a blessing, not only in my life, but I'm sure in so many people's lives. And I just want to tell you how much I thank you as a sister. Thank you for loving on me. Thank you for encouraging me. Thank you for listening to me, when I need to be babbling, talking. And I just appreciate you so much. Thank you. God is amazing in your life, and I see it. And I love you.
No problem. I love you. It's a pleasure. It is a pleasure. It is a pleasure. So we will be talking to you guys soon.
Yeah.
Thank you to our viewers. Thank you for hanging in there. We dropped the call a couple of times, but you still hung in there. We want to say thank you. We love you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, you guys have a good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.